There's a freshwater creature so powerful that several countries decided to ban it entirely. And the surprising part is that it isn't the fish people usually fear. What makes it so dangerous isn't just what it can do, but how easily it can catch someone off guard. Today, you and I are exploring 4 freshwater fish that should never be in a regular home aquarium. Some because they can deliver real physical harm. Others because they can take over entire ecosystems. And one because its survival abilities feel almost unreal. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why these species were banned, restricted, or quietly removed from a hobby. Before we dive in, if you enjoy uncovering the hidden side of the aquarium world, consider subscribing. It's a simple tap, but it helps this channel grow and keeps these unbelievable stories coming your way. Now, let's begin with the freshwater creature capable of producing more raw force than almost anything else underwater. All right, let's start with something wild, the electric eel. And trust me, nothing prepares you for what this thing can actually do. People hear electric eel and think it's just a nickname. But no, this freshwater animal can literally hit you with a real electrical shock strong enough to drop an adult on the spot. And here's the part most people don't know. It's not even a true eel. It's a type of knife fish. But titles don't matter when you can throw 860 volts into whatever gets too close. Imagine touching something underwater, and before you even realize what happened, your entire body locks up. That's the kind of power we're talking about here. And that's exactly why places like Florida and several other regions have bans or strict restrictions on keeping one. Because if even one electric eel ends up in a warm river or canal, it could survive, spread, and turn a peaceful waterway into something no swimmer wants to step into. It's not about fear, it's about understanding what this creature is really capable of. What makes it even crazier is how quiet it is. No warning, no threat posture, just a sudden blast of electricity. And honestly, knowing that changes the whole conversation about whether this belongs in a home aquarium. But if you think raw power is unsettling, the next fish doesn't rely on electricity at all. It uses something far more aggressive, and it has the ability to leave the water entirely. Now, the electric eel is all about raw power, but the next freshwater fish, it's on a completely different level of alarming. This one doesn't just dominate the water, it can leave the water entirely. I'm talking about the snakehead, and once you understand what it does, you'll see why entire countries banned it without hesitation. At first glance, it looks like a long, muscular predator with sharp teeth and a serious attitude. But here's where it gets unbelievable. The snakehead can breathe air, not for a few seconds or minutes, for hours. And it doesn't stop there. With its strong body and pectoral fins, it can actually move across land, crawling from one body of water to another, especially when it's hunting or escaping danger. Imagine a fish that doesn't stay where you put it. A fish that can walk into new territory, survive for days outside the water, and instantly become the top predator wherever it lands. That's why the United States, Canada, and Australia made it illegal to own, transport, or release one. In some places, getting caught with one is treated almost like environmental sabotage. And honestly, it makes sense. Once a snakehead invades a lake or river, it doesn't just coexist. It takes over. Native fish don't stand a chance. Ecosystems collapse. And the scary part is how tough they are. Cold water, low oxygen, muddy ponds, they just keep going. But as intimidating as the snakehead is, the next fish on our list is something completely different. It doesn't look dangerous at first, but once you see its face, you'll understand why people can't look away. We're halfway through this list, and I'm really curious about something. Out of the fish we've covered so far, which one surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. I always read them, and I respond because your thoughts genuinely make these videos better. And by the way, if you ever want reliable freshwater equipment or products I personally recommend, check the link in the description. There's solid options at good prices, and using that link helps support the channel so I can keep bringing you stories like this. All right, let's get back to it. Because the next fish isn't powerful like the electric eel, and it doesn't invade land like the snakehead, but one look at its teeth is enough to make anyone blink twice. All right, let's talk about a freshwater fish that doesn't rely on power or aggression to catch your attention. Instead, it shocks people with its face. The Pacu looks like a regular, peaceful fish at first, until it opens its mouth, because inside, it has a full set of teeth that look almost exactly like human teeth. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, here's where things get complicated. Pacus aren't usually aggressive toward people, but they can cause some serious problems. They grow fast, they grow big, and when owners realize they can't handle them anymore, some decide to release them in nearby lakes or rivers. And that's where the trouble starts. Pacu are powerful herbivores with massive jaws. Put them in the wrong environment, and they outcompete local species, damaging ecosystems that were never designed to handle them. That's why several places around the world restrict or ban their import. Not because they're monsters, but because one bad decision from an unprepared owner can reshape an entire freshwater ecosystem. And even though they look almost funny with those teeth, don't let the smile fool you. In the wrong hands, a Pacu can become a real environmental problem. But the last fish on our list takes things in a completely different direction. It doesn't rely on electricity, it doesn't walk on land, and it definitely doesn't have a human-looking smile. What it has is something far stranger and far older. Now this one feels almost unreal. The African lungfish doesn't shock you with teeth, and it doesn't charge at you like a predator. Instead, it survives in a way that barely seems possible for a freshwater animal. This creature has lungs, real lungs, and when the water around it dries up, it doesn't panic, it prepares. The lungfish buries itself in mud, creates a cocoon around its body, and slows its metabolism down to almost nothing. And then it waits, not for hours, not for days, for months. Some have survived more than a year without standing water. Imagine a fish that can outlast droughts, heat waves, and complete environmental collapse. That's why several places restrict or ban it. Because if even one escaped into the wrong environment, it could survive long enough to outcompete native species that have no way of matching its endurance. What makes it even more fascinating is how ancient it is. When you look at a lungfish, you're not just looking at an animal. You're looking at a blueprint from millions of years ago. A creature that kept its place on Earth simply by refusing to disappear. And honestly, it's hard not to respect that. But as incredible as this fish is, it also reminds us why some species don't belong in home aquariums. Not because they're evil or dangerous, but because their biology is so extreme that keeping them in captivity without the right setup can cause real harm to them and to the environments they might escape into. When you look at all four of these freshwater species side by side, you start to realize something important. None of them are dangerous just for the sake of danger. They're dangerous or restricted because their abilities go far beyond what most people imagine a fish can do. Electricity that can drop a person instantly. Predators that leave the water and take over new territory. Gentle-looking giants with unexpected strength, and ancient survivors built to outlast entire seasons. Keeping fish isn't just about beauty or curiosity. It's about responsibility. Because the moment a species ends up in the wrong environment, everything around it can change. That's why bans exist. That's why restrictions matter. And that's why understanding these creatures is so important before anyone even thinks about owning one. Freshwater ecosystems are delicate, and one powerful or misunderstood animal is enough to rewrite the entire story of a river, lake, or pond. So the real question becomes, not just can I keep this fish, but should I? If you enjoyed exploring these unbelievable freshwater creatures, stick around for more. There's another video on the screen right now that dives even deeper into the hidden side of the aquarium world, and I think you'll love it. Go ahead and click it to keep the journey going. And before you head over there, make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. It's a small action, but it helps this channel grow and lets me keep bringing you stories that most people never get to hear. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.